78th Ave. Hey, young lady, you gotta stop now, all right? No more fighting. No more flying kicks into the fence. You're gonna hurt yourself over nonsense. It's nonsense, all right? It's a retail theft. They don't care about that here. You gotta chill out. Chill out with it. It's fine.
It's not. My baby's at home. I didn't really.
We're gonna make sure the baby gets okay. Not your
I know that you guys gotta do that.
I just don't want you to get hurt. Flying kicks into the fence? Come on. You're a grown woman. That's gonna hurt you.
Can you go on the other side and start covering?
What's your name? Makita. Chill out a little bit. It's all right. We're gonna work with you, probation or not. It's not worth getting hurt. It's not worth getting hurt over. That's crazy. All right. It's a simple retail theft. We're gonna work through it with you, okay?
4 81st Street. A silver car just picked her up off of 91st Street. It's like a car. We have black driver, silver sedan.
An officer initiates a traffic stop on the silver sedan, and surprisingly, the driver pulls over.
Hey, how are you today?
4 81st.
Are you in the area for a reason?
No, I come from the Uber for the lady. I don't know.
Yes. Who requested an Uber?
Here. All right,
Oh, she's in there. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can open the doors, please. Thank you.
I'm Uber.
Thank you.
Out.
We believe you.
Yeah.
We believe you.
He's saying you want to
Hickory, we have the second female in custody. Hey, young lady. Hey, we're with Hickory Hills. We're going to talk to you and get everything squared away for you and your friend, all right? I know. Well, it's fine. Hey, we'll talk to you. Everything will be fine.
We're pictured waiting in the Walgreens.
A volatile personality, anger issues with women, verbal abuse. It's not Graham Plattner, it's Troy Jackson. Jackson has a history of conflicts with women, bullying, even intimidation. Jackson's conduct was so bad, his fellow Democrats raised alarm bells about his temperament. Jackson is like Graham Plattner, but worse. Decades as a political insider, accused of mortgage fraud, unpaid taxes, and bankrolled by powerful lobbyists. That's the real Troy Jackson. SLF package responsible for the content of this advertisement.
There's DNA. Then there's heavy-duty DNA. HDNA. 49%
I'm just doing some vocal exercises because we're about to read. It does help me get the kinks out of my voice box. When you're breathing in this air, it's hard to avoid the kinks, you know? Some of us tolerate it better than others. Alright, we are reading. Which one were we reading? Give Me Souls, yeah? The Peacemaker Who Went to War. You want to do that one? That's the one we started this morning. I thought you wanted to do one of the other two. Yeah, we can keep reading that one. We are on page 9. Alright, he was taking Nuno to court. King Ferdinand and Queen Leonora were holding court in Santarém, whither they had been driven from Lisbon. The war against the Castilians was going badly. It had been like a feud between a father and son, the father being Castile and the son being Portugal. In the past, Castile had never sent very great forces against her son, and the wars usually ended with some extra taxes on Portugal, some extra curtailment on the power of the king, who was but a glorified governor, subject to the King of Castile. One of the reasons things went badly for Portugal was the country's queen. Her heart was not in the war. It was only in her own pleasure. Secretly, she was even willing to betray her husband to the Castilians if that would have served her purpose. She imagined herself another Cleopatra. She was the Spanish blood, very beautiful, very voluptuous, with no scruples and few virtues. The king had made her his bride after much open scandal, even though she was the wife of another man. The people of Portugal generally despised her. Don Alvaro was one of those averse to the queen because of her scandalous life, and also because of the intrigues by which she had ascended the throne and utterly dominated her royal husband. It was largely disgust of her that kept him away from court unless he had to go. However, Don Alvaro was not averse to the king himself. He and Ferdinand were good friends. Even though travel was such in those days that even 200 years later, a trip in the United States from Plymouth Rock to Maryland was as long as a trip by boat today to Australia, Don Alvaro wanted his little son to go to the court and realize the ambition of knighthood. He wanted to, as we have said, to see at first hand how the battle was going, and to pay his respects to Ferdinand. Thus, in the year 1373, the great Don Alvaro Concalves Pereira, with his vast retinue of servants and attendants, swept on horseback into Santarem, and at his side, straight and proud in the saddle, rode Nuno, his son. Soon after arriving in Santarem, after presenting himself to the king and queen, Don Alvaro permitted Nuno and his brother Diego, whom Nuno had embraced with no little exuberance, to reconnoiter the surrounding country and report to him on the strength of the Castilian forces. It was the first time Nuno had ever faced a real enemy, though he had ridden on many imaginary encounters in Baumgarten in the company of his instructors. He felt elated to be permitted to ride alone now, for real, with Diego. As they galloped cautiously over the court side, experienced Diego showed his acquired manliness at every turn, taking advantage of all natural cover, sometimes dismounting to make observations from a tree or to hide in the brush on a knoll. Nuno felt his first thrill of the soldier life. On the way back, enemy scouts cut their route. Seeing the danger, Diego cried, "We will have to make a run for it over the open field." They broke from cover in the face of the enemy. Nuno rode at a masterful gallop, his impassive and proud face giving no sign whatsoever of perturbation. Meanwhile, he observed, eyes calm, alert, shrewd, estimating whatever could help the enemy. He seemed, though a mere boy, permitted the thrill of his expedition by an indulgent and perhaps not too prudent father to be an experienced soldier. Alexa, play classical music for reading.
The station, Classical Focus, free on Amazon Music.
When the two brothers returned to the palace, the sovereigns were tranquilly eating dinner. Nuno, with a sense of accomplishment that fairly shone from his youthful face, recounted every particular of the expedition frankly and with amazing detail. He concluded with the words, "The Castilians are many, but badly ordered and little watchful. With a few brave men of ours and a good captain, I believe that they could be easily routed." Don Alvaro looked as though he were about to burst with pride. The queen had paused in her usual meal. She took in the flashing eyes, the youthful figure, and caught the sweet blend of poise and modesty that characterized the amazing speech. When Nuno finished, she said, "Well done," and she smiled. Nuno thought she must indeed be, as he had heard, the most beautiful woman in the world. Then, bending towards the king, the sovereign lady whispered in her husband's ear. The king shrugged and said, "Do as you please, my lady." Then, to the amazement of all, on that first day of Nuno's arrival in Santarem, on the day of his very first soldier experience, the queen of the realm straightened and said, "I shall make you my knight." The expression on Nuno's face must have been as full of surprise as a cloud-banked sky at the sudden appearance of the sun. his mouth open, his great dark eyes wider and brighter than ever. The queen, seeing the boy's emotion, gestured for him to approach. She placed her hand impulsively on his shoulder and said, "I shall arm you myself, as soon as the ceremony can be performed." A few days later, the ceremony was solemnly performed in the palace of Santarem. It had been delayed because they could find no armor that would fit a boy so slight. And when the search had proved vain, and it was thought that a special unit of armor would have to be made for the occasion, the queen remembered the slight stature of a youth, only 2 years older than Nuno, who had been knighted some time before. The name of this youth, a name which we shall hear often before the story is told, was Master Diaviz, who would one day be king. The queen ordered that the armor of Master Diaviz be brought that Nuno might be knighted without delay, and thus Nuno was knighted at the hand of the queen when he was about 13 years of age, and in the armor of Master Diaviz, the king's own brother. Things went from bad to worse for King Ferdinand, who had hardly hoped, anyway, to win more than partial freedom from Castile. In a short time, to avoid still greater evils, the Pope intervened and insisted that peace be made. One of the severest conditions of the peace pact was the surrender of several localities to Castile, which would ever leave an open road for the Castilians' armies to re-enter Portugal. Several of the unusual political marriages were also a part of the peace pact. These marriages were to bind the political houses of Spain and Portugal to guarantee friendly nations. The King of Portugal promised to give his sister in marriage to the brother of the King of Spain. The two kings met at Velada, and 2 days later the nuptials were celebrated. The King of Castile retired with his army from Portugal, and Ferdinand re-entered Lisbon. In the new court, his special equerry to the queen was Sir Nuno Alvarez Pereira, 13 years old. Equerry. Chapter 2. Reality Shatters Dreamland. It was not that day in Santarem when impetuous and self-willed Queen Lenora gave Nuno his sword after the mystic words, "May God make you a good and noble knight," that Nuno Alvarez really became a knight. He became a knight the day he resolved to be like Sir Galahad, and turning with large, ingenuous eyes to the Lady Irene, said, "Mother, my fair lady, shall be the Blessed Virgin, the fairest of all, and I shall carry her token with me everywhere." And little Nuno adjusted his brown scapular over his heart, the token his lady had brought from heaven through the English saint, named Simon Stock, little more than 100 years before. Lady Irene repressed the tears that welled in the corners of her eyes and swept Nuno into her arms with an impassioned heart sob of prayer. Holding him close to her a long moment, when she had control of herself and of her voice, she slowly released him and said, "Nuno, no resolution could be greater. Your lady will never betray you if you are ever faithful to her." This was the time that the news of those devotions, the rosary and scapular, had traveled throughout Europe. Right, so someone in class was saying it's interesting throughout their lives when they feel like, they're being true to what's righteous for humanity and overall scale, to Mother Earth, to what's good, yeah? Sometimes people around them feel that they're being betrayed. It's a powerful statement. Your lady will never betray you if you are ever faithful to her. Right, so some people in class said they had to make a choice throughout life and do what was right for our Mother Earth. See beyond not using plastic, yeah? Doing what's right for one's own health, for your Earth, for your planet, for your universe. Right, there's an expansion when you're internal, and what is right for you is also right for Mother Earth. And sometimes you say, well, I'm going to overindulge today. And that might be with alcohol. It could be with drugs. Could be with food.
Where's your playlist?
Alexa, Volume 1.
Down the highway?
Alexa, Volume 1. For instance, if I wanted to go against what I believe and what I know is right and healthy for me, and I were to eat a big piece of pork right now, my lady would betray me, my Mother Earth. It would betray me in this. It would make me sick. And I would feel like, why are you doing this to me? But see, when you know, you don't have those feelings. When you know, you know. Right? So it's almost like if you know I'm going to eat this ice cream and it might give me a bit of a tummy ache or diarrhea, but it's worth it. And you can make that choice. You're not going to feel like, oh, why did you betray me? My ass is runny now. You knew that was going to happen. You expected it. So it's already there, right? You knew. Right, so when this happens with maybe a spouse or a friend or a person, and you say, no, I don't want to eat the pork. How dare you? You're siding with those people? How dare you betray me? You know what? I think the vaccines are actually dangerous. I looked into it. Oh, how dare you betray us? But you're not. You're doing what's right for yourself and for Mother Earth. So when they can't see that, sometimes you just have to walk away. And many are just not willing to do that because they love them too much or something. I don't know how that's love. If someone's going to do that to you, how's that love? And they're so confused. They think you're confused. Right, so this has been going on for years, and many have been trying to get mainstream and proper education into the systems. And it's been getting ignored so bad. And so many people have been attacked and targeted by sick motherfucking ill-minded people. I mean, we're just beside ourselves about it. If you got a problem with us speaking out about that and trying to do what's right for the health of the human race and Mother Earth, well, you can just burn in hell. You can seriously eat shit and die. Take a big knife and just saw your own fucking head off. Do us all a favor. I'm just reading quotes from class. I'm sorry. Take it up with them, huh? I bet you like to know who they are. I'll give you 2 guesses, Bunny Foo-Foo. Little Bunny Foo-Foo. Your lady will never betray you if you are ever faithful to her. This was the time. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you, my lord. Thank you. Alexa, Volume 4. This was the time that the news of those devotions, the rosary and the scapular, had traveled throughout Europe. The report had it that the rosary had been given to the founder of the friars, preachers, Saint Dominic. The Virgin had told this saint that if people would say the rosary, Hershey would be extinguished and many blessings would come. And the scapular had been given to the general of the Carmelite order, Saint Simon Stock, with the promise, whosoever dies in this shall never suffer eternal fire. For a while no one dared believe, but through the rosary the Albigensians, who had been destroying the faith in Europe, were utterly defeated. And everywhere this brown badge was the vehicle of miracles. And everywhere this brown badge was the vehicle of miracles. It's one sentence. It starts with and ends in miracles. And everywhere this brown badge was the vehicle of miracles. The dead were raised to life at its touch. The sick were cursed. Marvelous conversions were wrought. And in 1322, 37 years before Nuno's birth, Pope John the 22nd, almost immediately after his election to the papacy, had issued a bull known as the Sabbatine, in which he declared that those who wore this brown scapular faithfully and would in addition observe chastity according to their state and say certain daily prayers in honor of Mary would be freed from purgatory on the first Saturday after death. The Pope said that he had received the command of his great indulgence from heaven, of this great indulgence from heaven. Throughout the church, therefore, people were discussing and practicing these two devotions, from Pope to peasant. They were like a great and powerful spiritual medicine given by a great motherly physician to cure the evils of the day. The immediate followers of St. Simon Stock and of St. Dominic, and also of St. Francis of Assisi and St. Bernard of Clairvaux, were there to talk of them. The virtues of these saints were being extolled by the thousands of their followers all over Europe. The virtues of these saints were being extolled by their thousands and followers over all Europe. So someone is saying they were reading a book that would have been written probably a few hundred years after this, 1500s I think that one was, yeah. So yeah, in the 1500s era, you can read a lot of stories of people kind of experimenting with such things and cures. I mean, why would that brown badge? It was a vehicle of miracles. I mean, do you ever sometimes feel really scared and then all of a sudden the presence of someone or something makes you feel safer? This feels unsafe. Well, I feel a lot safer now that you're here. I feel safer in a sober state of mind. Yeah, so some of those books throughout the 1500s, yes. Even a little before and after, too, you hear notations. I wonder why that doesn't get touched upon too much. For face value, it seems to be acknowledged throughout many fields, such as a placebo, right? So what they're talking about is some of the books they were reading in the 1500s, from the 1500s. How some people, let's say they didn't have the brown badge or the holy water to make someone feel better, because it seemed to cure them all the time, right? Make them feel better. So sometimes they couldn't find a real priest bringing real holy water that seemed to be healing people. I think even some of them were scratching their heads a little bit, so they started to play these kind of games. Get a newcomer, an out-of-towner, to dress up like a priest or a brown badge, whatever, and come put some holy water on them. Right, because I mean they're so sick and they're asking for it, and we actually really want to help them and make them feel better, and we feel bad that we don't have it. I don't know who to contact. Is there a black phone around here? I know, right? It's really simple stuff, and it's fun things to learn about, but so many don't seem to want to put that in the education systems, which is one of the big ones that people say is a disservice to humanity and dumbing down society. Right, so when they were doing these things, just to kind of bring them a peace of mind, like, yeah, we got one, we found a priest, so it had to be an out-of-towner, or they'd say, that's Jimbo from up the road. Right, so they'd get an out-of-towner, dress him up in some garbs or whatever, give him a special bottle of water from the lake or the well. It's rainwater, really. I collected my tears. And then they go and they have the priest do a heebie-jeebie over them and put the holy water on them, and all they felt better. Oh, thank you, Father. Right, and these guys are standing around like, holy crap. There's something, the power of the mind, I don't know if they called it that back then. Self-will. The will of the mind. Because by God, we know, we did that. We found this guy from out of town. And we just filled it up in the lake. That's not nothing special from nowhere. They tricked us. I know, but you believed it because you saw someone who didn't feel good or couldn't even get out of bed. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's a miracle. I feel saved. Why though? Why did they have that in their heads? I mean, we could really bottle this and sell it. They'd go around from town to town. By God, it worked. Right, but I mean, did they have good intentions? I'm sure most of them did. I mean, whether they know where it came from or not, it's actually helping them feel better, so what's the wrong in it? Okay, it's fine, but if you start charging people for it or taking their valuables, we might have a problem. But they want to give it to us. They like say we can't refuse. Please take it. And look how much better they feel and they're happy.
I leveled up my American Express membership.
Alexa, Volume 1. I know, and now if these others that were warning those guys, hey, we saw you fill that up in the lake. Well, where else would it come from? Well, you know, it's all bullshit anyways. You go ahead and tell them. You know, these guys are tricking you. They filled that up in the lake. Why would you talk about these nice guys that way? And I really do feel better. And I really am standing on top of this big truck. Dear Lord, somebody already, wow. Yeah, so I know what you mean. So someone was just mentioning how they read a lot of books like that and people explaining those kind of experiences. Yeah, and I mean, if you want to go the medical route and learning about placebo effect and psychology, it's all there. Why isn't it taught in the schools? Why is it ignored and people are just medicated for having emotions or acting out of sorts? Which is a problem to who? How out of sorts are they acting? Hold on, let me take a look. You know what? They're just being kids. I think you're being a pushover. Why are you a fucking teacher? Get the fuck out of here. Are you gonna let them talk to me like that? Yeah, so we've just been dealing with that for a long time. Hopefully people are waking up to that and they get the fuck real. And they do what they can to help these children. Anyways. You're welcome. Thank you. Throughout the church, therefore, people were discussing and practicing these two devotions, from pope to peasant. They were like a great, powerful spiritual medicine given by a great motherly physician to cure the evils of the day. Right, and I mean, there's a lot of truth to not completely cast it off, because, like, carolers, Christmas time, why do you think they sent around carolers? Because a lot of people realize, you know, we love seeing them. It brings a smile to our face to see that parade marching up the road of men and women who want to help us, and they're singing songs and they have bread. Yeah, I mean, that would make anyone perk up if they were hungry and lonely or sad. And here comes the cavalry. Right, so was it a bad thing? Right, and then when people just want to give them things for the entertainment, for making them feel better, for giving them a laugh, it still happens today. I'm giving you $2 for that. You know, you go through people's chats all the time. Oh, that was funny. It was $1. Spot on. You know, you must have done a lot of work to find all of that information out. And the fact that you have the wherewithal and the care to try to convey that to others. Here you go. That's a good feeling, man. It gives us hope. We love it. Thank you. I mean, when does it become a sales pitch? We're just trying to like overdo it. I know when people are like slamming their doors, enough with the carolers already. You know, and they depend on it. They've been traveling around for years with their baskets with people with smiles and handing out money. And eventually people caught on and were like, enough with the fucking carolers. We got radios now, god damn it. Huh. This technology is taking our money and jobs. Well, why don't you invest in the fucking radios then? I'm sorry. Am I being mean? Am I being mean? So be it. So be it. I'm sorry. Thank you. You're welcome. The immediate followers of St. Simon Stock and of St. Dominic, has also of St. Francis of Assisi and St. Bernard of Clairvaux, were there to talk to them. Alexa, Volume 4. Alexa, Volume 3. The virtues of these saints were being extolled by their thousands of followers all over Europe. Over all Europe. The virtues of these saints were being extolled by their thousands of followers over all Europe. Mufasa. A chapel was honored in Rome and is to this day where St. Dominic, St. Francis, and St. Angelus, a great Carmelite preacher of the day, later martyred, are said to have met together and recognized each other, though they had never been introduced. Among the many prophecies they made to each other was the only one by St. Dominic. One day the scapular and the rosary will be Our Lady's instruments for saving the world. The devotion of Nuno to the Blessed Virgin, his choice of her as his lady, was a part of him for obvious reasons. It sprang from the boy's own goodness and from association with the monks of the various orders who stopped frequently at Baumgarten, especially Cistercians, Dominicans, Carmelites, and Franciscans. Cistercians, Dominicians, Carmelites, and Franciscans. Thank you. Someone said my pronunciation. Okay. They said my pronunciation was getting a little better. The Cistercians had been brought to Portugal by Count Henry of Burgundy, first Count of Portugal. It was in Burgundy that St. Bernard had founded his monastery of Clairvaux, and Count Henry had brought the teachings of St. Bernard about Mary, the mediatrix of all grace, the Virgin of the Memorare. One of the Count's first acts on being made Count of Portugal after the defeat of the Moors was to erect an immense monastery in Alcobaça, about 15 miles from Fatima, to which he brought 900 of St. Bernard's monks. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, Nuno was taught that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession, was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly to thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my Mother. To thee I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the world, O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petition, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. And it was not only a case of Nuno choosing Mary. She, on her side, chose him, Alexa, Volume 1, and chose him as her warrior. Pope Benedict, when beautifying Nuno Alvarez, Pope Benedict XIV, when beautifying Nuno Alvarez Pieria on January 23, 1918, during the First World War, prefaced his decree with the words, "It was evidently the provident and wise counsel of God to receive this most noble cause for this time of war and stress in Europe,
in order that a perfect example of Christian patriotism might shine in the darkness of selfish hate. The immediate result of Nuno's devotion to Our Lady was a love of the Holy Eucharist. Through the saying of the Rosary and through identification of himself as his Queen's Knight by the token of her scapular, he was thinking of Mary frequently. He trained for her. He proudly asked her to witness his little victories over other boys in jousting. He told her that her picture would dominate his coat of arms. He was speaking to her at his horse clattered. He was speaking to her as his horse clattered over the moat at Bumjardin, after hours on the countryside on which he was to conduct one of the great decisive battles of world history, and on which his queen, centuries later, during another far greater war, appear with conditions for world peace. More and more as the boy grew older and his devotion to Mary increased almost to a way of life, Lady Irene noticed that Nuno remained longer at his prayers in the Baumgarten chapel. Once in a while, outside the regular prayer times, the boy would go voluntarily to visit the great Lord.
Right, and then if, someone was saying that in those same times you had, almost like when you want to say 6 or 7, or Christian or Catholic, Jewish, Orthodox, all these different things being formed in different places. Yeah, I mean, it could just be like the name of a city or a street to help you understand what area somebody's from. Right, so you had the groups that were going around. Of course, they had the holy water and stuff like that, right? The brown badges, holy water. So some of them, too, were also teaching, building, right? Helping people to evolve, teaching them how to build, right? Because, I mean, you can't do all the work yourself, so they'd have to teach some of the locals. Not everyone wanted to conform to that. They want to stay in the teepees and dirt. Okay. Right, so, I mean, they probably just, if one town seemed too retarded, just go to the next one. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's how it was. Less evolved. Okay, nicer way to say it. It doesn't really hit the ears of them, though. We gotta say it in layman's terms, right? Yeah, so I mean, cleanliness is next to godliness. For some of them, those were the teachings of the Bible for our schools, cleanliness. Right, teaching them how to get clean water, find running streams, build wells. I mean, yeah, you think of so many barren lands, or some overrun by savages. And it's amazing to really be here and now, and it seems like so stupid and such a disservice to not learn about that history and have an appreciation for all of it. Healthcare, law enforcement, builders, overseers, watchdogs, field pickers, plowers, dusters, bakers, the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers. Exactly. I mean, it's really fun stuff to learn about. And to not make that a competition, Ray has to, though, teachers are more important than state workers. Well, sometimes a state worker is also a teacher. Cops are more important than game wardens. We need them both, right? It'd be really silly to kind of put those things into competition with each other and try to say one is better than the other. I mean, you can personally identify. You're like, okay, I'm in this situation. Right now I need a cop. No, this is a job for a game warden. No, Superman. We need to call Superman. Ghostbusters! Call the Ghostbusters! Right, so whoever it is, it depends on you, what you need in that moment, right? What's better for you. It doesn't mean it's better, right? It just means, no, that's the proper pathway to get help with what you're looking for. Someone stole your bike. Are you going to call a teacher? Nope, but teachers are still good, right? Are they any less than a cop? No, think about it. It's not that hard. All right, so when a teacher gets pulled over, there's no one that's better than the other. One has a little more authority, right? Just like teacher and student. You're not better than those kids, believe me. You're their equal. You got to learn that. But you do have more authority. Over what? You're going to sit down and you're going to get vaccinated and wear a mask and eat that pig. I don't fucking think so, lady. You go into principal's office. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to listen to you because you're the authoritative figure, and I'm going to go tell him what a bitch you are. He's probably going to agree with me, but he's going to have to let me go. I'll probably be suspended or expelled and put into another school where I don't have to deal with fucking people like you. And that's exactly what's been happening. Hopefully people realize that not everybody has the ability to switch schools or homeschool or get special training and skills or go to a private school and learn about online safety and education to protect themselves from the rich, fucking nasty, entitled, spoiled druggies that want to take advantage of them. Yeah, that. Anybody? Yeah, you mainstream fucking news people better wake the fuck up. Central Maine news people, you need to address this. Governor Hill Mansion, my name is Mary. Sick fuck who has my children. This shit needs to be addressed. How they were vaccine injured and how they've been fucked and tortured for years. You sick fucks. It's not consensual and it's not okay. And they need help. Especially that little boy. And there's a lot of them all around the world. Just so you know, news people. Yeah, you have these people in all these different areas where it actually is happening in disbelief, protecting the fucking sickos. We've been trying to explain to you how those wires got crossed back in 2009 and 10. If you want to continue to ignore it, believe me when I say it's going to get crammed up your ass so fucking hard, and we're going to laugh our asses off when it does. Okay? All right, you take care now. Hey, Jamie. How's it going? He couldn't figure out whose TV was too loud. He went in and turned Papa's TV down. He had Fox News blasting in the living room. Yeah. Got it? How's the day going?
Let's go with it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's a good hug. Someone in there? I think Nana's in there. Want me to see how long she's going to be? Nana? Hi, Nana. Are you going to be very long? All right, I'll tell her.
5 minutes.
She said about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I said before you.
Yes, you did. No, I was just telling Jamie, because he never played Yahtzee with me the other day. Oh, I think he's worried to do anything with me because of the things they say. It's actually so sad and scary what they've been doing. But yeah, anyways, he was just laughing because I said, you know, because you didn't play Yahtzee with me yesterday or the other day. I played by myself with stuffed animals. And Robbie was the black bear and you were the bird from Hogwarts. I told him, yeah, the bird won, so that means he won the game. He thought that was funny. He's in there laughing about it. It's like, do you want to play with me for real later? Because if not, I'll just play with the stuffed animals again. Yeah, anybody else who's aware, yeah, they know what they've been doing and saying to them. Absolutely fucking sick and disgusting and disturbing. And anybody who works with children or is out for humanity and not these sick, evil games being played, trying to get non-vaxxers and bullies and dog kickers, yeah, they know how sick and disgusting and disturbing what's going on here and how sad that is. You know, not to mention how he's a type 1 diabetic and all they feed him is fast food, fried food, heavy carbs, pizza, hot dogs, you know, I mean, just pretty much. It's the worst diet you could put a diabetic on. And it's like they do it on purpose to teach me a lesson. Well, that's what he likes. Mm-hmm. You know, this has gone on for years. He's an adult now, and how sad is it? Because he thinks about those things. I know he does. Right, and then when you start to see, oh yeah, look, the worst food for a type 1 diabetic, hot dogs, and it probably confuses him where the people that say he's their lifeline and are the only ones that can protect him and save him from dangerous people like me, probably confuses him, don't you think? Yeah, no, a lot of people agree with me. I don't need you to agree with me. We're just speaking openly to others who seem to not get it. Because a lot of people do, believe me. We're not alone. And we're not outnumbered. You are. Sadly, though, when you start to see those bubbles, a lot of innocent people get killed. Right, because, I mean, you can have thousands of people who don't have any weapons, and one person has a bomb. Who's going to win? No, it's not about being right or wrong, is it? Strongholds, as they call them. So we really appreciate people that are playing these characters and going along with certain things and kind of doing the best they can, I think, to bring those discussions to the table in a manner with which they're not saying what they can't say, but we can. So when we hear those discussions, right, a lot of people in class, I'm not doing it really. I'm kind of just watching and listening to their discussions and conveying messages that I agree with. Which I have found with some of these classes, I very rarely ever disagree with them unless it's about, like, they like caviar or something. Right, and see, they don't agree with me about Greek olives. I love Greek olives. They don't. There was a time where I was off-put by them for a moment because I had gotten an Italian when I was a young kid. I went to the store and I got an Italian, and it was a different store I hadn't been to. And I was expecting the basic, ham Italian, olive oil, black olives, loaded, And they put Greek olives on it instead of regular black olives. So when I bit into it, I thought there was mold in my sandwich or like something not right. What is in this? Right. So it was an initial at first. It kind of off-put me. I was like, something's wrong with my sandwich. I was so scared. I remember my mom's like, oh, it's because those are Greek olives, dummy. Oh, I've never had a Greek olive. These taste a lot different than a regular black olive. It's an acquired taste, dear. Also, mustard. When I was a kid, I didn't like mustard, and I love it now. I eat a lot of mustard. I wouldn't say a lot, but I do love mustard. It's a good add-in to some soups. Gives it a nice flavor. You have honey Dijon and all these different kinds. Brown mustard, yeah. Remember those brown mustard packs? My meme used to make these brown mustard. She'd mix the mustard powder with, I think, castor oil or something. And she'd rub it on a paper trash bag, a circle piece that she had cut out from a paper bag. And then she'd put that circled paper bag on our chest with the mustard and castor oil. And Vicks, yeah, sometimes the menthol, the Vicks, yeah, on it. It felt good. Yeah, I used to love that. It really opened up the airway. Yeah, we called them mustard packs. When I went through Lyme treatment, actually, I remember the naturopath had told me to do castor oil packs, which was on the organs, though, on your belly with a heating pad. Yeah, you take like a piece of flannel shirt or something and dip it in castor oil, and then lay that over your organs, like for the kidneys and liver and stuff. Right, piece of cellophane so you don't get messy, and then the heating pad over that, and just do it at bedtime. You can fall asleep with it on, it won't hurt you any. I haven't done that in a long time, but I did do it for a little while, and once a week. Right, so I mean it depends, like for upkeep, if you're dealing with something like you really need to cleanse fast or you got a bad buildup, yeah, do it 3 times a day if you wanted to. So it's saying that someone was asking about if it could help with kidney stones or if that's too far gone for normal kind of keeping things going. So there is no scientific evidence showing that castor oil packs can treat, dissolve, or prevent kidney stones. However, some people use topical castor oil packs to help manage the pain and muscle spasms associated with passing a stone. Because they can't break down the actual mineral deposits, and that's what a kidney stone, it's a buildup of mineral deposits, calcium. It's almost like a little calcified stone. Castor oil packs are used as a comforting home remedy for symptomatic relief. Anti-inflammatory properties. Castor oil contains ricinoleic acid, which penetrates the skin to target localized inflammation. So that can really help too if you have a lot of inflammation and stuff. Which I did. Yeah, it was really bad. I thought it did help a lot. When combined with a heating element, the pack can soothe painful cramping or spasms in the abdomen and mid-back. If you have a lot of lower back pain, menstrual cramps, do a castor oil pack. And I mean, you don't have to. Someone said it sounds gooey and messy and yick. You saw what you were doing last night, right? Are you serious? What the hell? You're going to say yuck to that after what you just had your face in last night? Holy shit. I don't know where to go with that. But anyways, stress reduction. The forced rest required during application helps calm the nervous system during an agonizing episode. The forced rest, so it makes you kind of lay down. once you get that on there, you got to at least lay down and be still for 15 to 20 minutes, right? You want to leave it on at least 15 to 20 minutes. You can leave it on for hours. According to medical resources like Medicine News Today, healthcare providers rely on clinically proven methods to help small stones pass safely. Want to drink a lot of water. Some they'll give you alpha blockers, yeah. Targeted pain relief, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs manage acute pain, so some will choose that route. NSAIDs, yeah. You don't want to drink castor oil. No, never drink castor oil to treat kidney stones. It acts as a powerful laxative and can cause severe dehydration, cramping, and gastrointestinal distress. Pregnant individuals must avoid castor oil in any form, as it can induce premature uterine contractions. Someone who's waiting to go into labor is like, get me that castor oil pack. Get this thing out of me. I don't think it works that way. I mean, if you do want to go the more natural route for those kind of things, so if it's not too far gone, under 4 to 5 millimeters, the most effective natural ways to help pass and manage kidney stone, hydration and diet. It's the most effective way if it's under 4 to 5 millimeters. Yeah, lemon juice, lemon water, apple cider vinegar, uric acid, solubilizers, pomegranate juice.
Roll down the window.
Hey, I got your window down. I appreciate that, Skylar. Can we talk? I can't hear you very well if you're talking to us. I appreciate your cooperation. Would you mind getting out of the car so we can talk?
On your right.
Skylar, is that you in the car? I don't want to keep calling you the wrong name. My name's Jamie. How can we talk? How can we get through this? Have you guys gone through the new high-risk stops? Next month? Okay. All right, then we'll continue doing what we're comfortable with. Perfect. The new model's really good, but if you've never been trained in it, it's awkward at first.
This officer is using a nearby home to get a better angle on the suspect, while also providing cover for himself, so it's more difficult for the suspect to see him.
Skylar, I appreciate your cooperation so far. Again, we don't want to hurt you. I understand you're late for work. We can work through that.
Dispatch is actively relaying information like this to the officers since they're on the phone with Skylar. Apparently, Skylar's excuse for this situation is that he's late for work.
Had you stopped, we could have mailed you your ticket. You still went on your way. Now we have some things we got to work through, but it's still looking at traffic tickets. I don't think you're trying to flee, but I don't feel safe coming up and talking to your window. Do you feel comfortable coming out and talking to me? Skylar, can you hear me better? Again, we don't want to hurt you. If you want to come out and talk to me, I appreciate your cooperation so far. I appreciate you showing me your hands, Skylar. Can you put down your window all the way and show me both hands? That way we know you don't have weapons. So when people run from us, it's usually because they have weapons and stuff like that.
512 to 565, I'm in position. He's got his left hand out to crack in the window.
Skylar, I appreciate you showing me the one hand. Is there any chance you can put the window down all the way and show us both hands? That would make us all feel a lot more comfortable. Skylar, again, we don't want to damage your car. We don't want to hurt you.
565, he's still not willing to comply.
Sounds like he's all by himself. I'd love to break some windows. That stop sticks up around the corner. Skylar, this is Jamie. What can I say to get you to come out of the car? Can you tell my dispatcher what it is that we can do to get you out of the car to comply with us? I don't like playing this three-way where you talk to somebody, they talk to me, and then I talk back. If you can get out of the car and we can talk, that'd be great.
I also have an aerosol OC grenade in my bang box. His hand's back on the steering wheel.
I'm taking his hands around the steering wheel, just probably keep him there.
I understand.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Troy sat there, emotional, even crying at times, as officers questioned him about Jerry lying lifeless just feet away. But outside that room, everything began to fall apart.
Okay.
He is going to be honest with us.
One of the witnesses said they needed to tell the truth, and weeks later, Troy was placed in handcuffs.
And another warrant for not reporting the death.
Officers responded to a welfare check at a Days Inn in Sharonville. 34-year-old Jerry Mays had not been seen or heard from for a while. Officers had learned she was in room 153 at the inn. However, when officers asked about the room, it was registered in a different person's name. When detectives knocked on the room door, Troy McHaffey cracked the door open just enough to look out, and he appeared surprised.
Hello, sir. How are we doing? Is there a Jerry staying here? Okay, is she in here? Okay, can we just talk to her real quick? What's that?
She passed out.
She what?
Passed out.
What did you say we just called for?
He was trying to call her.
Who were you trying to call?
Police, ambulance.
Oh, you need the ambulance?
You need the ambulance right now?
Can we come in real quick?
When asked about Jerry, he casually told officers she was passed out. Officers stepped inside and immediately saw Jerry lying on the bed. She wasn't breathing. Her skin had already turned blue. That's definitely not looking good.
She overdosed?
No, she got cancer.
A what?
She got cancer. She passed out. Cold, blue,
Poor Sam.
Is she bleeding or breathing?
You get a squad here. You gotta have a number. Okay, so who are you saying?
We're just people that we're seeing here.
Who's the bed? Okay, I don't want him rolling off the bed. Is she breathing?
Oh my god.
So she's deceased.
Yes.
How long has she been deceased?
Awful nerves. I don't know what was
You got gloves. You got gloves,
Yeah,
baby.
like that. We're not gonna call care. I can hold the fort now.
Okay. I think she's rigor mortis.
Okay.
I'm looking for all the stuff. Around
4 CM. 11.
You want to go get gloves?
14, can you start their way?
I got friends outside, I got my aunt outside.
Okay, well, nobody's going anywhere. This is an investigation now, guys. There's a dead person in the room and y'all didn't call it.
I'm saying the phone's been dead, I've been running around, they actually just got here, I'm by myself.
Okay, are you the father of this baby? Who's the mother?
We've been standing around for a year and a half, us three. They just came.
Okay.
I got her medical record, I found her stuff.
Okay, well, right now we're just gonna stand here for a second, all right? We're gonna wait for some help to come. You two are gonna go out in the hallway and you're gonna give all your information to the detective, okay? You're not going anywhere right now, sir.
Any firearms or anything like that in the room?
No, you're not using your phone right now. Sir, this is a criminal investigation right here.
Yep.
I'm gonna take the baby for a second. Let me hold the baby for a second. Okay? Hi, what's her name? What's the baby's name?
We don't really know them very well.
You don't know them, but you're in.
I know them, but I don't know.
When they checked her body, rigor mortis had already set in. She had been dead for hours. In the same room were 2 other adults and a 7-month-old baby. One officer quickly took the child from Troy, focusing on the baby's safety while calling for EMS. And in no time, they arrived.
Is she capable of taking care of the child?
Yes.
All right.
What's up, guys? She's in bed. She pleads to be deceased. Okay.
You guys haven't grabbed the hallway?
Not yet. It's all around the other way.
I need to check something. I'm gonna take the baby in the hallway real quick, okay? Make sure the baby's okay.
Marcus.
Okay, I understand that. Listen, right now we've got a crime scene. I don't know what's going on, and I just want to make sure everything's okay with the baby, and then we'll get her back, all right?
Listen, I'm already like frustrated. I was there by myself and this is my first
I
time
understand.
with
I want you to sit.
This is my girl right here.
Here's what I want you to do. Sit in this chair and let the medics get done with her, okay?
And then my aunt is
I understand that. I want you to sit in the chair.
Can I leave in my aunt?
No, you sit in the chair until they get done checking on her, and you're not getting up. All right. He is not to get up. Nobody is to move. I want to check, make sure there's nothing on her. Yes, please do.
Okay. Hey, just so we're all clear, okay? Okay, because we told you, you gotta stay put, okay? You got the right to remain silent.
They took one look at Jerry and confirmed there was nothing they could do. No life-saving measures were possible. As officers began asking questions, Troy's story didn't add up.
You know her first and last name, I presume.
Her name is Jerry Lynn May. She's 34 years old. Her address is 34.
Is Jerry your full name? G-E-R-I?
Jerry Lynn May.
Can you spell Mays for me?
You gotta stay in here? I've been staying here for a month.
What is she?
How long has she been like this? Same. I don't even. I got up at like 9:30. Now I waited for like 10, 20 minutes to see. I put her in the tub. Bring her back.
So you put her in the tub?
Yeah, I tried to hit her with the water. I don't know what's wrong with her. I tried to wake her. I don't know. So I like.
When did you do all that?
Since recently, I've been moving up all the towels and stuff. I'm sweating, man. I've been doing it.
12 hours ago, 2 hours ago.
I wouldn't know. It was this morning. But it just happened in a matter of an hour, 2 hours top.
Who were you two?
We were just coming out.
Right. I just called so many people outside. She wasn't getting my
They were supposed to move there.
It seems you called so many people before calling the police or an ambulance here.
That's what I've been right here. I can't move. I don't have no car. And I got a whole baby, bro. I can't move. I've been waiting for rides.
Okay, but nobody, she's been like this for a while, and you didn't call an ambulance, and you didn't call the police.
I had my people call, my phone been
Why didn't you just call?
My phone's been dead, like literally, like it's been dead. I can't even touch look at my phone, man. Like I can't touch it. I have a control of a baby too at that. Like this is a first experience. I don't like, and I'm waiting. I should call 20 people.
Okay, but if you had time to call 20 people, why didn't you call the ambulance or police first? Is my question.
I did.
We never got a call.
I don't know what they be doing here. I just don't call them. Like my girl, she passed out. I don't know. So then when we call them, okay, call them this time. Come over here. Everybody just get over here.
He claimed his phone was dead, but then he said he called a lot of people for help. He never clearly said he called the police or an ambulance. His answers were inconsistent, and his behavior didn't match the situation. The two other people in the room, Heather and Charles, first backed up parts of Troy's story. They said they had just arrived and didn't know much. But outside the room, everything changed.
Hey, so it was 15 minutes before.
Yes.
Okay.
He said that he had already called somebody, so we were sitting there, we just talking about in the car.
You guys can be honest with us. Yep, that's all that.
To come together to address this. Now, there's more work to be done, but I believe that we can do it if we do it together. Again, my heart goes out to everyone who was there, everyone who witnessed the gun violence. I want to thank all of our partners who were on the scene, as well as our officers and professional staff. But more importantly, if you were there, or you saw something, or you witnessed something, or you recorded something, I want to give our violent crimes tip line, which is 206-335,000, or you can simply call 911 with your information so we can screen that with an investigator. Thank you.
She said no, she didn't want to phone. Okay. So
Okay, I think we're happy to take some questions.
Can you clear up, Mayor? You put out information yesterday suggesting that 2 people were in custody. Hearing that there's 1 person in custody. It's unclear if that shooter is still on the loose or if the shooter is deceased. Can you clear that up?
Yeah, so what I'll say, I think in complex situations like this, information flies around. So that
we were receiving information that a second suspect potentially ran toward the IMAX theater. So that may have been where some of the confusion were. We use our SWAT team as well as other resources to slowly and meticulously search that area just in case someone was hiding out there. We did not find anyone. In fact, that search really ended probably about 15 minutes before the press conference last night, which could be one of the causes of the delay that you spoke about earlier. There is a second shooter. We're trying to identify who that person is. Our officers need your help. If someone saw something, or perhaps if someone has some video, we need to identify that person. We do believe that there was an exchange of gunfire. We have 1 person in custody that our officers took into custody. We need to figure out who that other person is.
Chief, you know that people are angry that this was 5 hours that your department waited to tell people that there is a shooter on the loose. Why wait 5 hours to tell people? And then here we are 17 hours later and you still don't have that person.
Yeah, again, you're right. We do not have that person in custody, but we wanted to get it right. Again, we were searching the IMAX theater. It was possible that that person could have ran in there. If that person would have been taken into custody, that would have been our second shooter. But we're still looking for it. We understand that people are angry. You should be. Everyone should be angry. But with that anger, you should also be asking yourself, what can I do to prevent this? We have to start partnering together. We have to start working together on this issue of gun violence and getting information out and providing opportunities for people so that things like this do not happen. If I had, really a crystal ball, it would be that we could work with our young people, work with our groups, and make sure that they understand that this is not the way to go. This incident affected a lot of people internally, people who visited our amazing city. We're just coming off a very successful event with the FIFA where we had no incidents, and to have something like this this weekend is solely definitely unacceptable.
But Chief, the mayor's office put out misinformation, and that is serious. You know, as people are trying to put the pieces together, is it safe for me to go outside? Is there a second shooter? Do you take that seriously? And this question would go directly to the mayor. What can be done to assure that never happens again?
Well, let me say this. Right, let me say this. Yes, we take our jobs very seriously. And so we want to get out information as early and as often as possible. It is unfortunate that sometimes, in any situation, early information is sometimes incorrect. But what do you do when that happens? You correct that information and you move forward. How do we get better? We get better by going back. We do after action reviews, which we will do on this case, and we'll try to ensure that the information is correct. But we have to get something out to our community when we can.
Chief, were you clear on last
No, you go ahead, Mike.
Were you in town yesterday?
I was not in town yesterday. I wish that I had a crystal ball and we could schedule gun violence, but we can't. Yesterday I was in Dallas at the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives Conference. It's their 50th anniversary. At that conference, 2 members from our community were being honored. One of our pastors was given an award for his work in the community, and one of our officers, one of our CSOs, was given an award, and I wanted to be there for that. That's why I was not here.
Do you have any video of this incident from the Seattle Center? You reviewed it yet? They have cameras there.
I do not know if we have video of it. I have not had a briefing on that just yet.
I'm sort of curious, Chief, if you don't mind.
Cameras, you were told yesterday that there were no security cameras in the area where the shooting occurred. Why that?
I'm not sure where the camera placement are. Those, the video unit, they're probably at home asleep now. They'll give me another second briefing this afternoon. We'll be able to answer that question. Hold on, we're going to let the mayor answer the question. Hang on.
Yeah, I'll just say I've been told that the Seattle Center does have cameras, and we are in the process of pulling that footage to see if there's anything relevant in there.
To back up on that too, you know, the CCTV cameras have been a real talker. This could have happened in the stadium district, and you decided to turn those off pending an audit. How do you feel now?
The safety of the residents of Seattle is my highest responsibility, and I take that very seriously. In the course that we've charted on the CCTV cameras, which is a matter of public record, that means balancing various kinds of safety for different communities, and that is the motivation behind the course that we're taking.
Can you please reconcile?
Over here.
Could you reconcile for me? Last night we were told public is in no danger, nothing to worry about here, and then on the other hand we hear that there is still a second suspect at large. How do you reconcile the two of those?
Yeah, I think you may have been, you know, whenever there's a shooting and we're looking for suspects and that person is not in custody, there's always a danger, right? And so what we want to get out to the public is that the interior scene, what we call our inner perimeter, was secure. I believe that's the message that we were trying to get out. We had a second scene that was only cleared a couple of minutes before the actual press, and so we're trying to get information out as often as we can, but our focus is on the search for the suspect. And so we will certainly, as I stated before, we have no problem with doing after-action reviews, understanding how to work better with our communication strategy, making sure you get the information that you need so that you can do your job, which is what? To ensure that our public is informed on public safety matters, because I believe that the public has a right to participate in their own public safety. They can only do that if we get our information out, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Well, part of that, I think this is the first time we're hearing.
Do you have an idea of motive, and is there any indication that this is related to gang activity?
I don't know if it's gang activity, but certainly group activity. We have to determine the nexus behind what happened. Obviously, with someone so young, we have to determine if this person is a part of a group or a part of a gang, what the ongoing conflict was. But we're gonna do that. Our officers are gonna work. We do have an intelligence section that's gonna work to identify everyone that was involved to see if there is some connection between the two. But then once we do that, we have to verify that connection.
And Chief, just to be clear, is it possible that one of the victims that died last night is the second shooter?
It is possible, but we do not know that that is the case until we do the investigation. We will make sure, again, You just stated that accuracy is important, so we want to take our time and make sure that we're accurate.
One
Go
part
ahead.
of that, two people shooting at each other is a lot different than one person firing indiscriminately. I think this is the first time we're hearing that 17 hours later. What commitment do you all make as elected leaders to make that transparency earlier in the process so people are waiting 3 to 5 hours without any sort of clarity?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate that there's a tension here between providing information quickly and providing information accurately, right? So if we had been reporting up to the minute everything that we were hearing in the swirl that happened last night, there would have been a lot of inaccuracies out there that would have confused people and that we then would have had to correct. So we are managing this tension, and we are doing the best that we can to provide accurate information in a timely manner without increasing confusion.
Is there a reason Seattle alert wasn't used? You have a text from your emergency response where you can, during emergency, send text messages out to a lot of people. Is there a reason that no text messages were sent out? Seems like that could have been a way to notify people quickly.
I'm not sure that that's a tool that we normally use in situations like this.
Well, the claims that the website says it's used for emergencies, it seems like it's probably a pretty serious emergency.
I think we were focusing on getting accurate information out through our normal communications channels, and also not creating undue fear and confusion.
We were told that there was we were told on the scene around 11 o'clock, right before the press conference started, that they were waiting for dignitaries to show up. So a lot of people in the public right now believe the reason why there was a 5-hour delay was because we had politicians who wanted to get in front of the cameras. I want to get you on the record. Is that true? Was the delay at all to do with because we needed politicians to get in front of the cameras?
No, that is absolutely not the case. Okay, so as I stated before, last night at Seattle Center, what we had was a scene of an active investigation where SPD was searching the grounds for a possible second suspect. And there are times when elected officials' presence is not helpful, and that was one of those times. We don't want our law enforcement distracted taking care of elected officials when they have work to do.
But there was no direction from Governor Ferguson's office or Camilla Jaipaul's office to wait to do the press conference until they got to
As soon as we coordinated with SPD and agreed that it was time to talk to the media, as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing that, I and Governor Ferguson and Congresswoman Jaipaul arrived on the scene within minutes.
So you can say his office unequivocally did not tell you to wait?
No, absolutely not.
So then what was the delay? Because there's basic information, and I know SPD has gotten training on this and paid a pretty penny for it. What was the delay in the basics, the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s of what happened? You had people running, you had people shot on the ground with bullet holes in their backs, covered in white sheets, and we are sitting there waiting, and the only thing that we had was a tweet and people who were afraid and a lot of information on social media filling the vacuum. So why is it that citizens in the city of Seattle had to wait for almost 5 hours to get answers? It's something so serious that's made national headlines.
Yeah, I mean, my office put out a statement at 8:30, which again included an initial inaccuracy. So again, this speaks to the tension between providing information early and providing it accurately. So we, along with SPD, were trying to manage that tension, and we got information out to you all as soon as we possibly could.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. So thank you so much for coming today.
How are you, Chief? It's good to see you, man.
I was going to say, you got here pretty quick.
I'm not even going to be at
So from 1600 to where?
Yeah. Well, remember I'm on Central Standard Time.
Yeah.
So it would have been whatever the conversion is, something like 8 until 2 in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
El Paso Heights, yep. Grand High School on her left.
Do you know she actually has cancer? She does have cancer.
We don't know that she's actually we don't know nothing about it.
You think she's pregnant? Okay, she said that? Jerry said that?
We don't know really any information about it, but just but what they say, you know what I mean? We hear them say.
They were already on SI. And she, at some point this morning, or last night, said that her chest hurt.
Yeah.
Which was when?
All night. But he went to bed like around 1. We all went to bed around like 3, and she was fine.
And she smoked crack last night. You know if she smoked any crack this morning?
We don't know. We were sleeping, so we don't know when she was awake. You know,
When's the last time you know that she was alive?
like 5.
5 o'clock this morning because you heard a morning unit?
I think that's when she said something about her chest hurt.
That was when you heard her say her chest hurt?
We were just laying on the bed kind of going, you know, half asleep, half awake.
Okay.
But she always said that.
That her chest hurt?
She always complained about her chest hurt, and she always said that her heart felt like it was down.
They also revealed Troy was dealing drugs, and that Jerry, who had stage 4 cancer and might be pregnant, had used crack cocaine the night before. Detectives eventually took over the scene and attempted to get some words from Troy.
Alright, we just want to, like I said, dot the I's and cross the T's, try to figure out, let's establish the timeline, what's going on here with her, these people, whatever. Your baby's down there, we're going to get the baby some help and all that other stuff. These gentlemen, they're good people, they're good detectives, they just want to go down here and talk to her.
I ain't fooling like that.
You what?
I'm not fooling like that, but I'm saying, like, so y'all like to take her, I'm glad.
Listen, we're not going to take her because she's dead. Well, she's passed away. The coroner's office has to come and take her. Well, all we do is just lock this whole place down, and then they got to come and do their thing. We can't even touch it. Okay? All right? You got some shoes on? And if you're staying up here, depending on what the coroner does with the room, we can let you back up here and get your stuff and all that, okay?
And we'll get you back up here after we're done doing what we gotta do, okay, Troy?
You alright? Okay?
Talking about, these detectives are going to ask some of the same questions I do. You just got to tell them what you were telling me, okay? There's no reason that we don't believe you, okay?
Yeah,
Look, I believe you about her heart, trust me. But we have to do our report and be very accurate. So that's why they just want to talk to you. And we'll get you back here as soon as we can, okay? We're going to take care of her.
You want to take her?
Would you like me to take you to our station?
Or you want to go down with Mark to take you down?
You can ride with me, buddy.
Hey, leave her not challenge the experience. There's only been a year.
Right.
Troy,
Just left me.
Troy, I'm Detective Wilson.
That's the way of it, girl.
I understand. Any kind of death situation, obviously we have to conduct an investigation. We're not saying that there's any kind of foul play or anything like that, but we still have to conduct an investigation, okay? You understand that?
Why don't you ride me back to our PD?
Yeah, Officer Morozi's going to take you back to the PD. If you will give us permission, that'll help us speak with them. Are you okay with us taking a look around the room to find out what may have contributed to this? Is that okay? We're not, if we find any drugs in the room or anything, no one's getting charged, okay?
There, okay. Hell, man. So you got the drugs and the heart failure. You got stage 4. Like, I was telling him, he was telling me how big took my heart.
That's all stuff that'll get determined at the coroner's office when they do an autopsy. But we still have to conduct an investigation, okay?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know how everybody will call.
Is that your child that's at the PD? Yeah, so
She wouldn't even let me call
you'll be. Unfortunately, because we have a death investigation, we cannot let you stay in this room. We have to get you out of the room.
I want to be in the room. I'm saying I don't understand wrong.
Well, let
Remember what I said though, when it comes to death,
Doesn't really seem too bothered that she's dead. And when they showed up, he's just like, yeah, she's passed out. Wow. Wow. Yeah, holy crap.
I see something burning up ahead. Let's go up there and see what that is.
Inside the room, they found drugs, paraphernalia, traffic signs and
Groups from
traffic.
cities like New York and Boston are taking advantage of the state's drug problem.
Questioned
The
outside.
same amount of rock. So you gave us consent to search the room. You still want the camera on? But you don't need it here in the state of Maine.
It's a growing trend. Mainers driving to northern Massachusetts for heroin driving back high.
I would do whatever it took to get drugs.
This Mainer in her 20s, who asked we not show her face for fear of arrest, drove...
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Groups from cities like New York and Boston are taking advantage of the state's drug problem.
From New York and Boston? Yeah, that's kind of always been that.
You can double or triple what you make here in the state of Maine.
It's a growing trend.
That's why they take them to those other places.
For heroin driving back high.
I would do whatever it took to get drugs.
This Mainer in her 20s, who asked we not show her face for fear of arrest, drove from Maine to Mass with a dealer every day for a year.
Really any time of the day, but mostly night. We would park on the side of the street and just wait for him to get in the car, give us the stuff, and then we take off.
I would be worried about those kids.
Among Maine drug trafficking cases, agents call them source cities. Lawrence, Lowell, Haverhill, and Methuen, all conveniently located on the highway between New York City and a market in northern New England. Once it arrives in Maine, those dealers are making some big money. They can sometimes quadruple their money. What goes for $10 here on the streets of Lawrence can be worth $20 in Portland, $40 in Washington County. Targeting down East Maine is no coincidence.
Maine may be known for its quiet coastal towns, forests, and small communities, but behind the peaceful image. Law enforcement officials say a dangerous drug trade has been expanding across the state. From Portland and Lewiston to Herman, Hancock, Skowhegan, and rural Somerset County, investigators have uncovered trafficking operations involving various drugs, illegal grow sites, and interstate suppliers. Some cases began with undercover purchases and months of surveillance, while others started with community tips, routine traffic stops, or something as simple as a handwritten license plate. These investigations have led to large seizures, federal prosecutions, repeat raids at the same properties, and arrests involving suspects allegedly traveling into Maine from other states. In this documentary, we break down some of Maine's most significant drug busts and examine how traffickers allegedly use homes, apartments, motels, vehicles, and businesses to distribute narcotics throughout the state.
Everything's about supply and demand.
When you talk to David Marble, he sounds like a businessman.
It's like anything. If you can take a pair of sneakers from one place and charge, and from here you're charging it 50, and then you take it another place and you can charge it 150, then you're gonna do that.
That's why he says he moved from Rochester, New York to Maine. He saw a market here, one of epidemic proportions, killing more than a Mainer a day.
Seemed like I stayed in trouble a lot.
Marble says he grew up around drugs and was groomed as a teenager to sell crack cocaine and then heroin.
When you around the environment long enough and you seeing the outcome of what other people are doing, you're gonna eventually slide into it.
But it wasn't until he lost his job as a coding technician that he turned to selling hard drugs, and he heard of a little place called Augusta.
Needed the money at the time, lost the job, still had kids to take care of.
And here in Maine, he says he could make 5 times more money.
Used to making $10 off it, now I'm making 50.
So in September 2015, he saw a change of income and a change of scenery.
Places where you gotta walk miles just to see a store, you don't have to worry about the violence.
But it was in one of those places where you'd have to walk miles to see a store that put Marble here at the Maine State Prison. 3 months after arriving in Maine, he was arrested, later convicted of... It started Christmas Eve 2015 when a group of people broke into his apartment.
The quicker you can get it off, the better. I mean, you don't want to be having a lot of stuff around you.
That stuff was cocaine and heroin, and someone knew it was just sitting there waiting to be stolen. Early the next morning, Eric Williams, Bonnie Royer, and Royer's unborn child were dead.
Now, the traffickers, these are people that take drugs.
A few weeks later, during a town hall meeting, Governor Paul LePage referred to Marble by his nickname, D-Money. That sparked a controversial debate about the drug epidemic.
These are guys of the name D-Money, Smoothie, Shifty.
Thank you, Mr. LePage. Should we kill him? Just the street ones or the doctors too? I don't know, but I know one thing. I know that the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine better address the abuse here with our children in the hands of these sick fucking punks. That's what I know. I know it's a huge issue, all these drug investigations. It's a very serious issue, as you can hear. We know that. We're talking about child and animal abuse being fed out to activists. Our children here that were vaccine injured, that have been fucked and tortured by these punks for years. Do you understand that? I sure hope so.
These type of guys that come from Connecticut, New York, they come up here, they sell their heroin, then they go back home. Incidentally, half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave.
Is this something new?
I don't have any kids up here in Maine, so the one statement already was wrong.
More importantly, he says, you shouldn't blame him for Maine's drug problem.
Yeah.
The market was already here, the people was already here, they was already doing it before I came up here.
He did, however, hope to make some money and go back home, providing for his son and daughter.
Oh, see, I still got two legacies that, will be able to live on for me.
But in the end, he's here for the rest of his life.
Yeah,
3 other legacies, 3 other lives, unable to live theirs.
David D-Money Marble Jr. didn't come to Maine to stay. He came to sell drugs and to commit immolation. In 2015, Marble traveled to Maine from out of state, establishing himself as a trafficker while orchestrating violence against those in his way. He deleted Bonnie Royer and Eric Williams, two people who stood between him and his profits. When Maine State Police and federal prosecutors caught up with him in 2018, the verdict was swift: life in prison with no possibility of parole. Marble's case became a stark warning about out-of-state traffickers bringing hardcore violence to Maine streets. He wanted to be a kingpin. Instead, he became a cautionary tale serving a life sentence in a Maine cell, miles away from the empire he tried to build.
For this individual's name to come up, I was shocked. He was not on anyone's radar screen of being anything but a good corrections officer.
On Tuesday night, Davis Glazener was booked into the Cumberland County Jail, the same jail he's worked at for the last 2 years. Sheriff Kevin Joyce says a tip led them to search Glazener's South Portland home. Inside, they found coke.
I want to show our employees and the public that we can take care of business, and that just because you're an employee, you don't get any free passes.
Glazener was stripped of his equipment and put on administrative leave without pay. Sheriff Joyce says there's a possibility of more charges.
It gets blended in with
If you subscribe to the USA Facts newsletter and YouTube channel, you will get free, nonpartisan facts and videos on big issues.
October 20th.
Unborn child were dead.
Now the traffickers, these are people that take drugs.
A few weeks later, during a town hall meeting, Governor Paul LePage referred to Marble by his nickname, D-Money. That sparked a controversial debate about the drug epidemic.
These are guys of the name D-Money, Smoothie, Shifty, these type of guys that come from Connecticut, New York. They come up here, they sell their heroin, then they go back home. Incidentally, half the time they impregnate a young white girl before they leave.
I don't have any kids up here in Maine, so the one statement already was wrong.
More importantly, he says, you shouldn't blame him for Maine's drug problem.
The market was already here, the people was already here, they was already doing it before I came up here.
He did, however, hope to make some money and go back home, providing for his son and daughter.
I always say I still got 2 legacies that will be able to live on for me.
But in the end, he's here for the rest of his life. 3 other legacies, 3 other lives, unable to live theirs.
David D-Money Marble Jr. didn't come to Maine to stay. He came to sell drugs and to commit immolation. In 2015, Marble traveled to Maine from out of state, establishing himself as a trafficker while orchestrating violence against those in his way. He deleted Bonnie Royer and Eric Williams, 2 people who stood between him and his profits. When Maine State Police and federal prosecutors caught up with him in 2018, the verdict was swift. Life
then
in
when they
prison
need
with
to do
no
busts,
possibility of parole.
there they are. There's
Marble's case became a stark warning about
They know
out-of-state
exactly the
traffickers
routes they
bringing
drive
hardcore
and-
violence to Maine streets. He wanted to be a kingpin. Instead,
We've been watching this
he
our whole
became a
lives.
cautionary
We're
tale
44
serving a
years
life
old.
sentence in a Maine cell,
We
miles
recognized
away
this when
from
we
the
were
empire
12.
he tried to build.
For this individual's name to come up, I was shocked. He was not on anyone's radar screen of being anything but a good corrections officer.
On Tuesday night, Davis Glazener was booked into the Cumberland County Jail, the same jail he's worked at for the last 2 years. Sheriff Kevin Joyce says a tip led them to search Glazener's South Portland home. Inside, they found coke.
I want to show our employees and the public that we can take care of business, and that just because you're an employee, you don't get any free passes.
Glazener was stripped of his equipment and put on administrative leave without pay. Sheriff Joyce says there's a possibility of more charges.
October 2018. A corrections officer employed at a Cumberland County facility was arrested on drug trafficking charges. The officer had used his position, his access, his authority, his uniform to facilitate drug distribution. It was corruption at its most direct. Someone sworn to enforce the law was breaking it, smuggling product into prisons and managing distribution from the inside.
In the shadows of the iconic Lewiston Cathedral on 68 1/2 Howe Street, one of 20 locations in central Maine, raided. Within 15 minutes, police officers and drug agents arrested 24 people. The suspects, both men and women, from Maine, Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania. The alleged drug dealers, as young as 19. The oldest, 66-year-old Lee Earsey, who lives on Howe Street. While most of the alleged drug dealers were sleeping, 6 a.m. Friday, agents came knocking and rounded up those 24 alleged drug dealers. Even though that sounds like a lot, Delahaney says it doesn't even make a dent in the drug trade.
January 2015. Maine law enforcement assembled an historic task force. 135 police officers and drug agents coordinated across the state in simultaneous raids. The result, 24 alleged drug dealers in custody, arrested in what was then the largest sting operation in Maine's recent memory. The scale was unprecedented. Departments that normally operated alone coordinated with federal agents. Information that had been siloed was shared. The operation sent a message. Maine wasn't going to tolerate distributed trafficking networks anymore.
Wyndham police officers and Cumberland County Sheriff's deputies arrived at 30 Snowy Ridge Road to execute what they called a high-risk search warrant. Wednesday, we saw windows blown out, trash and debris everywhere. Witnesses say when police raided the property, people retreated inside. A 2-hour standoff followed, a neighbor snapping these photos showing the armored vehicles that police used. Eventually, 7 suspects were arrested, including the property owner, 34-year-old Daniel Yates. Authorities say the raid followed a months-long investigation into suspected drug trafficking, human trafficking, and other criminal activities. Other neighbors afraid to go on camera but told us they've had it with being afraid and the comings and goings.
September 2025. Wyndham police surrounded a property after neighbors had complained for years. What they found inside shocked them. A multi-crime operation combining drug trafficking, prostitute, and human trafficking under one roof. 7 people were arrested following a 2-hour standoff. Victims were recovered from the property. This bust revealed a dark side of Maine's drug trade. The networks that move drugs often move people too, enslaving them through addiction and force while profiting from both substances and bodies.
7 people from Maine and Massachusetts will now answer to charges ranging from possession to drug trafficking to conspiracy. At a house on Gray Street, officers arrested Gloria Pressey, Martin Fernald, and Angela Hansen. She's not pictured. All 3 from Waterville. Police also arrested Jeremy Sanchez and William Botex from Massachusetts. At a house on Gray Avenue, police arrested Christopher Violette, and at an apartment on Summer Street, they caught Joshua Bilodeau. Both are from Waterville.
In June 2019, MDE agents and Waterville police executed a bust that highlighted just how dangerous Maine's opioid crisis had become. 7 people were arrested in a single operation, and what officers seized stopped them cold. More than 15,000
just doing a little bit of cleaning and stuff.
15,000. That's enough to delete every person in Waterville 3 times over. This wasn't age-laced with Fenty. This was pure pharmaceutical weapon-grade Fendi, packaged for distribution across main streets. The bus showed that traffickers weren't just selling drugs, they were stocking lethal firepower.
And other opioids are causing an incredible amount of damage, human suffering, as a result of the trafficking that's engaged.
If you subscribe to the USA Facts newsletter and YouTube channel, you will get free, nonpartisan facts and videos on big issues. It won't make you stronger, but it'll make you smarter. Subscribe, strengthen that muscle between your ears.
Ladies and gentlemen, Twice Yearly PrEP is here. One office visit every 6 months. 2 times a year for HIV prevention. That's 1-2 PrEP. That's Yeztugo. Yeztugo is an injectable prescription medicine that helps to protect against HIV through sex. 1 office visit every 6 months. 1 during your summer sun, and 1 during your winter fun. 1 during your summer glow, and 1 during your winter glam. You must be HIV negative to receive Yeztugo and get tested for.
In January 2017, Maine Drug Enforcement Agency agents arrested 2 people in what would become the state's largest H and Fendi seizure on record. 8 pounds of pure H valued at nearly $2 million on the street. Both suspects were held at York County Jail while federal prosecutors built their case. The haul was so massive that it demonstrated something previously unknown about Maine. Traffickers weren't just moving small quantities through the state. They were running industrial-scale operations, stockpiling enough product to supply the entire eastern seaboard.
Connecticut man charged in one of the largest heroin busts in Maine's history has been sentenced to 12 years in prison. 37-year-old James Jameson of Waterbury was arrested in 2016 with an estimated $500,000 worth.
2018, 37-year-old James Jameson of Waterbury, Connecticut, was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for his involvement in what officials described as one of the largest H seizures in Maine history. Jameson had been arrested in 2016 following a months-long investigation in Aroostook County, with authorities estimating that the heroin connected to the case was worth approximately $500,000. Agents initially attempted to arrest him in a South Portland parking lot, but prosecutors said he rammed a police vehicle and fled before becoming involved in a multi-vehicle crash in Scarborough. Jameson reportedly escaped from the crash scene, but was later located and arrested at a nearby hotel.
Police in Portland also teaming up with drug agents to get a suspected drug dealer off the streets. Heavily armed officers executed a search warrant this morning on Washington Ave near Veranda Street. Investigators arresting 29-year-old Kerwin Lamore, and they're charging him with aggravated trafficking. Police say Lamore was caught selling drugs within 1,000 feet of the Presumpscot School.
May 2025. Portland man Kerwin Lammer, age 29, was arrested by Portland police and MDEA agents for selling drugs within 1,000 feet of Presumpscot Elementary School. The proximity to kids walking to class was an aggravating factor in the charges. Lammer's choice to operate near a school marked him as someone willing to sacrifice children's safety for profit.
2 previously convicted gang members from Massachusetts who were arrested in Maine have been indicted by a federal grand jury on drug and firearm charges. 42-year-old Stanley Earl Jenkins and 22-year-old Xavier Puello are charged with conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute, as well as possessing a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. Both federal charges could carry a sentence of up to life in prison.
According to the charging documents, officials searched a home in Moosehorn Road in Abbott last May. Prosecutors say Jenkins and Puello were found with around $7,500 in cash.
2 previously convicted gang members arrested in Maine are now facing federal drug trafficking and firearm charges after prosecutors alleged they were running a drug distribution operation tied to a residence in Abbott, Maine. A federal grand jury indicted Stanley Earl Jenkins of Boston, Poolside Sticks, and Xavier Puello of Lawrence, Massachusetts, Bodega, on a conspiracy count involving 280-plus grams of Coca-Cola base and 40-plus grams of Fendi, plus a second count alleging a firearm was possessed in furtherance of drug trafficking. Both appeared in federal court in Boston. Court filings cited in reporting described Jenkins as tied to the Franklin Hill Street Gang and Puello as an alleged Trinitarios member, Lawrence chapter. Prosecutors also noted Jenkins was on supervised release from an earlier federal case, and Puello was on probation from a Massachusetts firearms case. Investigators say the case centered on a search at a home on Moosehorn Road, where they reported finding about $7,500 cash, a handwritten drug, menu, and 2 loaded guns, a Ruger 9 and an Anderson Arms 5.5 6 rifle with a 60-round magazine, along with a scale and suspected drugs. Court documents also say the homeowners Christopher Salvucci and Brooke Salvucci were arrested, and investigators reviewed phones and messages they allege showed drug sales activity.
Fontaine has been charged with conspiracy to violate federal firearms laws. Officials say he is a previously convicted felon and that he was working with a man from Old Orchard Beach to straw purchase guns using both money and drugs. That means someone else was buying the guns for them since they were not legally allowed to. Included in the evidence in this case is a string of text messages discussing which guns should be bought, and court documents say that the third man who did buy those guns was paid $100 and given drugs for each one.
Federal investigators say a suspected gun trafficking pipeline out of Biddeford ended with an early morning raid and the arrest of Dustin "Dizzy" Fontaine. Authorities said HSI, and the FBI took him into custody at the Clifford Street apartment building where he lived, and prosecutors filed a criminal complaint accusing him of conspiracy to violate federal firearms laws, alleging the guns were being funneled from Maine to Massachusetts drug dealers and gang-linked buyers. According to an HSI affidavit, investigators say the scheme relied on straw purchases. They allege Fontaine, described as a convicted felon who couldn't legally buy or possess firearms, worked with Jonathan Bethune of Old Orchard Beach and a cooperating buyer who purchased guns from licensed dealers, including Kittery Trading Post. Agents said messages recovered from phones showed the group discussing what to buy, and the cooperating witness claimed they purchased roughly 100 guns for Fontaine and about 100 for Bethune from mid-2022 through late August 2023, receiving cash and/or drugs per gun. Investigators allege the firearms were then traded or sold into a Massachusetts drug trafficking operation for money and narcotics.
People in South Portland raising concerns over how hard drugs seized in a recent bust there were packaged.
On Saturday, police arrested 2 men from Massachusetts after they say they found a large amount of drugs in their car, concealed in what looked like packaging that was a legitimate cannabis vendor. However, South Portland Police Chief Dana Hearn says typically cannabis packaging that uses common name brands like Skittles or Welch's is not legal. Hearn also says it is likely the packages were not used to mislead people about the drugs, but more so to disguise them as legal goods and make illegal transport easier.
February 2025. South Portland police arrested 2 men from Massachusetts after discovering a large volume of suspected drugs in their vehicle. The bust alarmed residents a major shipment of narcotics transited through town. Interstate connection was cleared. Dealers from Massachusetts were using Maine as a distribution hub and retail market.
This cell phone video, taken by a neighbor and shared with us, shows police making arrests outside of 149 College Street. It's the 4th warrant at the same home in 9 months. The people arrested today were Stephanie Hallman, Gregory Simmons, Lucas Messer, Christina Allen, and Lilith Price. According to our previous reporting, Messer was arrested at the same location last month. Hallman was arrested at the same location in December. Tax records show that the property is owned by Matthew Brissett. A criminal background check shows that Brissett has had run-ins with Lewiston police dating back to 2006, operating under the influence in multiple drug possession charges. Brissett often discharged with a fine of $300 to $400. We obtained an affidavit showing that back in February, Brissett was arrested for possession of Xanax and over 7 grams of methamphetamine.
Well, with the windows closed, it's probably 85 degrees.
93?
Probably an extra 10, 20 degrees on what the outside temperature. For big, what is it, 75 degrees outside?
120.
120.
Wow.
It's a recipe for disaster.
I would not want to be inside.
It's no place to leave a kid, that's for sure. God forbid you were in a car seat, that makes it even hotter.
They can't regulate their body temperature as well as adults.
Extremely dangerous, even if it's just for a couple of minutes.
It's important to keep focused on the important things. Take your kid out of the car always.
That's when the fog got hot. I heard somebody say, burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno, yeah. Burn the father down. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno.
According to the Maine Department of Corrections inmate database, Brissett was sentenced to 364 days, all suspended, and 1 year probation.
In March 2026, the Somerset County Sheriff's Office arrested 6 people after executing a search warrant at a home in Norridgewock. Authorities reported seizing various drugs, more than $6,000 in cash and drug-related evidence value at roughly $16,000. Ariel Hernandez Batista, Luis Martin Mateo, and Luke Sylvia were charged with aggravated drug trafficking after allegedly attempting to escape through a hole in the floor, while Randall Woods faced possession and conditional release charges. Denise Weber and Jeremy Ross were arrested on outstanding warrants. Hernandez Batista and Mark Mateo were also placed on federal immigration detainers after authorities alleged that they were unlawfully present in the United States.
That's right, Steve. Officials say that 2 of the children found living in this home here in Standish were also living in a home in New Sharon. That was the site of another meth lab that was busted just last month. Cumberland County Sheriff's deputies arrested 32-year-old Timothy Shubrook and his girlfriend Tressa Sprague on Saturday. Officials say Shubrook is the brother of Tabitha Shubrook, who was arrested in New Sharon last month. Shubrook and Sprague lived on the first floor of this home, and they've been charged with manufacturing meth and violating conditions of their release on a pending theft charge. Now, 5 children also lived on this property in the home on the second floor with a grandmother. Additional charges may be filed against Shubrook and Sprague if those children were found to be in any danger.
April 2015, NDEA agents discovered a suspected meth lab in Standish. 2 people were arrested. Equipment and chemicals seized. The clandestine operation was shut down, but Standish's meth problem didn't end with this single bust. It reflected a statewide pattern of rural meth production.
2 people believed to be in the U.S. illegally are among half a dozen arrested in connection with the drug bust in Somerset County. Officials say they found drugs, money, other paraphernalia during a search as they executed a search warrant in Norridgewock. 6 people were arrested in all on various charges.
In March 2026, the Somerset County Sheriff's Office arrested 6 people after executing a search warrant at a home in Norridgewock. Authorities reported seizing approximately various drugs, more than $6,000 in cash and drug-related evidence value at roughly $16,000. Ariel Hernandez Batista, Luis Martin Mateo, and Luke Sylvia were charged with aggravated drug trafficking after allegedly attempting to escape through a hole in the floor, while Randall Woods faced possession and conditional release charges. Denise Weber and Jeremy Ross were arrested on outstanding warrants. Hernandez Batista and Mark Mateo were also placed on federal immigration detainers after authorities alleged that they were unlawfully present in the United States.
On February 26th, police responded to shots fired between people in 2 vehicles as they were driving through residential Portland. 2 days later, police found one of those vehicles and arrested a 17-year-old boy, charged with reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon. He was taken to Long Creek Youth Development Center. When searching for the second vehicle involved, police uncovered a significant drug trafficking network, uncovering firearms, cash, and cocaine. Multiple high-risk search warrants were then conducted in Portland, Gray, and New Gloucester throughout March.
March 2024, Portland police uncovered something unexpected. A sophisticated drug trafficking network operated entirely by teenagers. The investigation began after a shooting in the city and expanded to reveal that young leaders, some still in school, were running supply chains and managing distribution. It was a marked shift in how many drug markets were organized. The arrest of multiple teenagers signaled that trafficking was no longer just an adult enterprise in Maine. It was recruiting kids to expand its reach.
2 women facing charges after a brief police chase in Bridgeton. Police say they tried to stop the car just after midnight on Tuesday because it had a handwritten license plate.
In May 2025, Bridgeton police arrested 35-year-old Naomi Beard and 44-year-old Linda Pepin after an officer attempted to stop their vehicle because it displayed a handling license plate. Police said the driver continued for nearly a mile before stopping on Willis Park Road. A search of the vehicle allegedly uncovered approximately 4 grams of Fendi, 15.5 grams of meth, 14 grams of Coca-Cola, cash, drug paraphernalia, and other suspected trafficking evidence. Vierick was charged with multiple drug trafficking offenses, refusing to submit to arrest and providing a false name, while Pepin was arrested on an outstanding failure to appear
From the
warrant.
outside, Portland may seem to some as an escape, a place to get away. But it is not immune from societal problems like drugs. And that's why Maine's Drug Enforcement Agency has had to take a new approach, targeting those coming from the outside in.
These groups come to Maine. They use fake names and street names and take advantage of the demand that is here in the state of Maine for crack and heroin, and then they use that demand to make money. Unlikely that they have other locations.
On Monday, the MDEA seized 72 grams from this Portland apartment building. They arrested 4 people, 3 from New York City. Investigators believe the group had been dealing out of the apartment for several months.
Over 2013,
for crack and heroin,
and
they use that demand to make money.
Bust
Unlikely that they have other locations.
On Monday, the MDEA seized 72 grams of crack cocaine and 125 grams of heroin from this Portland apartment building. They arrested 4 people, 3 from New York City. Investigators believe the group had been dealing
There was another bust in Somerset County where investigators seized nearly 1,300 plants.
Now it has the attention of Senator Susan Collins, who says she has serious concerns about the foreign-run entities in Maine's rural communities. Collins has pressed the U.S. Attorney General and the Director of the FBI on the issue, and she says more needs to be done at the federal level to shut them down. According to Collins, there is evidence the operations are tied to criminal organizations associated with the Chinese government.
May 2024. Maine law enforcement cracked down on illegal merry-grow operations. In Somerset County, investigators seized nearly 1,300 Mary plants from an unlicensed cultivation site. While Mary is legal in Maine under strict licensing, unlicensed operations, especially those running industrial scale grows, continue to flourish, flooding the black market.
Step up to the plate this summer with your Irving Rewards card. 1 and 2 fuel swipes win a fuel discount of up to 75 cents per gallon. Every swipe is a chance to win free fuel for a year. Hit a home run and win with Irving Rewards.
The Real Steve Ballmer wants you to subscribe to the USA Facts YouTube channel to get facts and videos about America. The AI Ballmer doesn't have any wants. Humans, please subscribe.
Agents with the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency are investigating a suspected methamphetamine lab here at 8 Ulmer Street in Lewiston. Officials say they've been working on this investigation for a long time. You can see agents in hazardous suits over there. They have masks on and hazardous gear. They've been going in and out of this apartment on Ulmer Street, pulling out some evidence, looking through materials, sorting through materials, and marking them in evidence bags and taking them back to the truck. Now, as you can
February 2010. Police and Maine Drug Enforcement Agency agents raided an apartment on Ulmer Street in Lewiston after intelligence pointed to a suspected meth lab. What they found: equipment and chemicals for manufacturing meth. 1 arrest. 1 lab dismantled. But for every Lewiston lab shut down, another was being set up elsewhere in the state.
In Rockland, 3 people face new drug charges after police say they found more than 50 grams of meth while investigating alleged dealing at a subsidized housing facility for older and handicapped people. Police arresting Mark Gagne, Michaela Batty, and Tiana Brancella yesterday afternoon. Gagne was released from jail just last week on an abuse of a corpse charge in connection with the Cushing death of Kyle McDougal. Police say all 3 people arrested yesterday had prior charges and...
In March 2026, Rockland police arrested 43-year-old Mark Gagne, 29-year-old Michaela Batty, and 30-year-old Tiana Branchella after responding to reports of suspected drug activity at a subsidized housing complex for older adults and people with disabilities. Officers said they recovered more than 50 grams of Fenty along with meth. Gagnon was charged with felony drug possession and violating probation, while Batty faced drug possession and conditional release violations, and Branchella was charged with aggravated drug trafficking and violating her conditions of release. Gagnon had reportedly been released from jail shortly before the bust and was on probation for previous drug trafficking and abuse of a corpse charges connected to a 2024 Cushing homicide investigation.
At approximately 7 p.m. last night, the Brewer Police Department, with the assistance of the Maine State Police Tactical Team, executed a search warrant at 54 State Street in Brewer. ABC 7 crews were on scene when detectives from Brewer Police questioned a number of individuals at the residence. During the search, illegal drugs and firearms were seized. Police say the incident triggers Brewer's disruptive property ordinance. At approximately 7 p.m. last night, the Brewer Police Department, the assistance of the Maine State Police Tactical Team, executed a search warrant at 54 State Street in Brewer. ABC 7 crews were on scene.
The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office said they seized more than a pound of illicit drugs in a search of a home on Krogan Road as part of a months-long investigation. 3 people were arrested at the home. This morning, the Sheriff's Office announced that further testing showed they actually seized more than 2 pounds of meth.
In March 2026, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office announced that the amount of drugs seized during a raid on a Krogan Road residence in Herman had nearly doubled after investigators completed further testing. Deputies initially reported recovering various drugs, but later identified nearly more drugs, bringing the total seizure close to 1 kilogram. The new evidence led authorities to return to the residence and arrest 74-year-old Sherry Kluge, who was charged with unlawful trafficking of Schedule W drugs. Kluge became the 4th person charged in the investigation, joining Chad Langley, Daquan Moore, and Shelley Perry, who had been arrested during the original search.
Authorities say 39-year-old Jason Bolduc and 35-year-old Nicole Farrar are now behind bars following a massive drug bust that spans across 3 states. The 2 Maine residents were arrested on drug trafficking charges back on January 13th. Investigators say they were monitoring Bolduc over the past 4 months and believe he was selling heroin from his home in Maine. Agents seized more than 8 pounds and half from Maine and half from Massachusetts. The investigation also led authorities to a storage unit on Route 16 in Wakefield. Inside the unit, police found more than $170,000 in cash, a ledger detailing past drug sales, and several handguns.
MDEA agents arrested.
Authorities say 39-year-old Jason Bolduc and 35-year-old Nicole Farrar are now behind bars following a massive drug bust that spans across 3 states. The 2 Maine residents were arrested on drug trafficking charges back on January 13th. Investigators say they were monitoring Bolduc over the past 4 months and believe he was selling heroin from his home in Maine. Agents seized.
Cover police operation led to a drug bust inside a Westbrook apartment building just moments ago. Police arrested 1 man accused of possessing and obtaining fentanyl on the first floor. Maine Drug Enforcement Agency and Westbrook Police had been investigating this home. Undercover officers purchased the fentanyl ahead of the arrest. Officials say community concerns put this house on their radar.
In January 2025, Maine DEA agents arrested 41-year-old Christopher Cyprian after an undercover investigation into suspected Fendi sales from his first-floor apartment on Rochester Street in Westbrook. The investigation reportedly began after residents complained about frequent late-night traffic and disruptive activity around the building, and undercover agents allegedly purchased fentanyl from Cyprian several times. During a search of the apartment, investigators reported recovering various drugs, a loaded handgun, and other evidence associated with drug trafficking, with the narcotics valued at around $12,000.
I know, and when that's incorporated with some police and investigations,
Cumberland County Jail with bail initially set
and
at
it gets all
$10,000 cash.
intermingled with who killed Kennedy.
Gear surrounded a pickup truck about 9 this morning. Maine Drug Enforcement agents, with the help from Maine State Police and the Oxford County Sheriff's Department, say they found evidence of a meth lab in this truck. Maine police say the truck is connected to this mobile home just down the street.
Back in 1994. So I'm not trying to protect these. I know they'll step in and say, "Oh, she's trying to protect these traffickers," and just put them away.
Which took them to towns in
For 12
northern
years,
Oxford County.
big drug bust. People got promoted. Yeah, no shit.
At a home located in the town
Where'd
of
it
Gilead.
come from?
Police say
Who
5
tempted
people were
them with
detained
that?
and questioned. They
Well, we
wouldn't
have to
say
see
exactly
where
what
it was
kind of
going,
evidence
and
was
then we know where
found
the
or
drug
seized.
problems are and where we can implement programs to get them on our prescription drugs and get them off the street drugs. It's so systematic and sickening, and you motherfuckers know it.
Authorities searched 5 homes.
Start getting real and having those discussions, maybe. Until then, they look like stupid fucking sick
Operation
motherfuckers
showed
to
that
us.
meth production was spread across Maine's rural counties, requiring coordinated multi-site raids to effectively dismantle.
Multiple people were arrested at a Herman home yesterday afternoon after a months-long drug trafficking investigation. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office has deputies searched a home on Krogan Road. They reportedly found half a kilogram of combined illegal drugs. 33-year-old Chad Langley of Herman and 30-year-old Daquan Moore of Brooklyn are charged with drug trafficking. Authorities say 54-year-old Shelley Perry was also arrested on warrants for failing to appear.
March 2026, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office arrested 33-year-old Chad Langley of Herman, 30-year-old Daquan Moore of Brooklyn, New York, and 54-year-old Shelley Perry after executing a search warrant at a Krogan Road residence. The raid followed a months-long investigation into suspected drug trafficking from the property, and deputies reported seizing approximately half a kilogram, more than 1 pound of various drugs. Langley was charged with aggravated trafficking and possession of Schedule W drugs, while Moore faced aggravated trafficking and trafficking charges. Perry was arrested on an outstanding failure to appear warrant. The operation included the Sheriff's Special Response Team and K-9 Memphis, with assistance from the Maine DEA, Homeland Security Investigations, and the Herman Fire Department.
2 people were arrested after a drug trafficking investigation in Winthrop. The Maine DEA says they charged Stephen Lee Smith of Connecticut and Caitlin Dubois of Winthrop after executing search warrants at a motel and storage facility. Over 300 grams of 115 grams of fentanyl were seized.
Step up to the plate this summer with your Irving Rewards card. 1 and 2 fuel swipes win a fuel discount of up to 75 cents per gallon.
In June 2025,
Yeah, and then when a lot of those big notch
arrested
people
32-year-old Caitlin Dubois
see
of
the
Winthrop
ones
and
that are hot on their
34-year-old
trail,
Stephen Lee
they
Smith
look
of
for
Broadbrook,
something to get
Connecticut.
those people
Following a
on your
month-long
trail
investigation
and up your
into
ass.
suspected drug
It's a
sales
Karen,
from
it's a
a
non-vaxxer, it's a bully. They're one of the cartel people. Look at their last name. Look at where they live. You motherfuckers. Yeah, I really hope the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine do what they're supposed to do to help our children here in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles that have been feeding out child and animal pornography right on those same drug trafficking lines. Investigators,
Smith was charged with 2 counts
individuals.
of
It's not a
trafficking,
joke.
while Du Bois faced 2 aggravated trafficking counts and an additional unlawful trafficking charge.
2 people are behind bars tonight after a drug bust in Old Orchard Beach. The Maine Drug Enforcement Agency started this investigation 2 months ago. Dylan Wilcox and Amazia Sylvester, both of Old Orchard Beach, are charged with trafficking fentanyl throughout southern Maine. Anyone with information about this investigation or illegal drug sales in Maine is asked to contact the closest Maine Drug Enforcement Office.
March 2021, Maine DEA agents arrested 28-year-old Dylan Wilcox and 21-year-old Amazia Sylvester, accusing the Old Orchard Beach couple of trafficking fentanyl throughout southern Maine. Undercover agents allegedly purchased fentanyl from Wilcox before arresting him during a Portland area traffic stop, while Sylvester was stopped outside their apartment carrying approximately 285 grams of suspected fentanyl. Investigators searched the residence and reported recovering evidence of drug trafficking along with approximately $51,000 in suspected drug proceeds. Officials estimated the seized Fendi was worth about $43,000. Wilcox faced 2 Fendi trafficking counts, while Sylvester was charged with aggravated trafficking, theft, and violating her conditions of release.
26-year-old Brianna Rennie of Auburn, 31-year-old Akil Charles of Brockton, Massachusetts, and 57-year-old William Tardif of New Gloucester were all arrested. Police served that warrant at the apartment of Rennie.
December 2025. After a month-long investigation triggered by community tips and local law enforcement intelligence, MDEA arrested 3 people on aggravated drug trafficking charges in Auburn. The community-led tips showed that residents were fighting back, reporting dealers and operations to police. The arrests proved those reports mattered. Agents responded and shut down the organization.
Egan's police chief says his department is at war with trafficking after a drug bust during a traffic stop over the weekend. Officials found nearly 175 grams cutting substance. 2 of the passengers in the car were arrested for trafficking. The driver also faces charges for driving with a suspended license.
In May 2026, a traffic stop on Middle Road in Skowhegan led police to arrest 30-year-old Sadie McDonald of Fairfield, 51-year-old Louis Lopez, and 38-year-old Michael Griffin of Farmingdale. An officer reportedly stopped Griffin's Toyota Camry because it had no license plate and a loud exhaust, later determining that none of the 4 occupants had a valid driver's license. With assistance from K9 Police, police searched the occupants and vehicle, allegedly recovering various drugs. McDonald and Lopez faced aggravated trafficking and drug possession charges, while Griffin was charged with several driving violations, including operating after.
To go. And I think I produced, Brian, would you say I produced even more than I said, right? Even more. Yeah, exceeded. That's true. We like that. Thank you, Brian. He's a great guy, and he's got a group of followers that are unbelievable.